In this video, we'll explore the circumstances surrounding the deaths of the majority of U.S. presidents, with only 6 still living at the time of this recording. From natural causes to assassinations, each president's demise is a unique chapter in American history. We'll delve into the peculiar details surrounding their deaths, including Washington's perplexing medical treatment, which some speculate hastened his demise in 1799. In 1799, medical practices were rudimentary, often relying on the concept of balancing bodily humors. George Washington's treatment exemplifies this outdated approach. Doctors drained 32 ounces of his blood, induced vomiting, and administered enemas, leading to his unfortunate demise. Perhaps with proper hydration and modern medication like a Z-Pak, Washington's fate could have been different. John Adams, on the other hand, lived a remarkably long life, reaching the age of 90. However, his death from heart failure, likely due to arterial sclerosis caused by plaque buildup in his arteries, underscores the importance of healthy lifestyle habits and aging-related health issues. Interestingly, John Adams passed away on July 4, 1826, exactly 50 years after signing the Declaration of Independence. His death occurred just 5 hours after Thomas Jefferson's on the same day. While the exact cause remains uncertain, Adams likely succumbed to a combination of ailments, including diarrhea, kidney damage, and possibly prostate cancer. James Madison, America's shortest president at 5'4", lived to the age of 85 before dying from congestive heart failure. This condition occurs when the heart's ability to pump blood diminishes, leading to fluid buildup throughout the body. James Monroe's demise in 1831 was attributed to tuberculosis, a bacterial infection that primarily affects the lungs. Although specific details surrounding his death are not extensively documented, tuberculosis was a prevalent and deadly disease during that era. John Quincy Adams, America's 5th president, shared a curious fate with Adams and Jefferson, becoming the 3rd president to pass away on July 4th. This coincidence didn't escape public notice, becoming somewhat of a mid-1800s meme. After serving 1 presidential term, Adams continued his public service in Congress for 9 terms. At the age of 78, during a heated debate over the Mexican-American War, Adams suffered a debilitating stroke on the House floor. Despite the emergency that ensued on Capitol Hill, Adams succumbed to the stroke 2 days later at his home, marking the end of a distinguished political career. Andrew Jackson experienced a prolonged decline in health before passing away at the age of 78. While the exact cause of his death has been debated, some suggest it could be linked to heavy metal poisoning from the medication calomel, while others point to kidney failure, characterized by full-body swelling known as dropsy. Martin Van Buren's cause of death remains uncertain, with some sources pointing to chest issues that may have originated from a lung infection, eventually leading to cardiopulmonary failure. William Henry Harrison famously delivered a lengthy inaugural address in freezing weather without protective clothing, which many believed led to his demise from pneumonia just 1 month into his presidency. At the time, medical practices focused on balancing bodily humors rather than germ theory, leading to ineffective treatments such as blistering and inducing vomiting and diarrhea. Despite these efforts, Harrison holds the record for the shortest presidential term in office. John Tyler succeeded William Henry Harrison and completed his term as president. Historians note his persistent health issues, culminating in his death from a stroke in 1862. Interestingly, Tyler is the only U.S. president not buried with the Stars and Stripes. Instead, he was interred with the Confederate flag, reflecting his allegiance. James K. Polk, after leaving office, embarked on a tour of the southern United States with hopes of settling in Nashville. Unfortunately, he passed away just 3 months after his presidency, succumbing to cholera, a disease transmitted through contaminated water. Zachary Taylor's presidency was cut short by his death, sparking controversy and suspicions of poisoning by pro-slavery advocates. Although his remains were exhumed for testing in 1991, conclusive evidence of poisoning was not found. It's more commonly believed that Taylor contracted cholera or dysentery from contaminated food or water in Washington, D.C. Millard Fillmore, rumored to be the White House's first health-conscious president, met his end from a stroke at the age of 74. Despite his efforts to maintain a healthy lifestyle, he succumbed to the effects of the stroke. Franklin Pierce passed away at 69 from cirrhosis of the liver, likely a result of heavy drinking throughout his lifetime. The toxicity of ethanol damages the liver, leading to inflammation and significant swelling in the abdomen. James Buchanan, often criticized as one of the worst presidents for his inaction on slavery, died at 77, reportedly from pneumonia. Despite the lack of detailed information on his death, pneumonia is commonly cited as the cause. Abraham Lincoln's assassination, one of the most infamous events in American history, occurred just days after the Union's victory in the Civil War. John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, shot Lincoln in Ford's Theater, causing a fatal wound. Despite detailed notes from Lincoln's physician, Dr. Robert Stone, it's noted that Stone's actions, such as probing the wound with his finger, likely exacerbated the situation. Although Lincoln's fate was inevitable, such actions may have worsened his condition. Andrew Johnson, the first president to serve in the Senate after his presidency, died of a stroke at 66. Ulysses S. Grant's heavy cigar smoking likely contributed to his throat cancer, leading to his death at 63. Grant's death sparked widespread fear of the disease across America. Rutherford B. Hayes passed away at 70 due to complications following a heart attack. James A. Garfield's presidency was tragically cut short by assassination just 18 months in. Shot by Charles Julius Guiteau, Garfield's death was prolonged by medical mishandling. Despite Guiteau's responsibility for the shooting, debate persists over whether medical interventions worsened Garfield's condition. Famed inventor Alexander Graham Bell even attempted to locate the bullet with the world's first metal detector. The exact cause of Garfield's death remains uncertain, but it's speculated that improved medical care could have saved him. Chester A. Arthur succumbed to a significant cerebral hemorrhage 2 years after his presidency, likely exacerbated by hypertension or high blood pressure. Grover Cleveland's death at 71 from a heart attack is overshadowed by a remarkable event in his medical history. In 1893, during his second term, he discovered a lump in his mouth, diagnosed as cancer. Fearful of market disruption, Cleveland underwent secret surgery aboard a yacht, concealing the operation for 24 years until one of the doctors revealed the truth. Benjamin Harrison, like his grandfather William Henry Harrison, died of pneumonia at 68. William McKinley faced assassination during his second term in 1901, shot twice in the abdomen by Leon Frank Czolgosz, an anarchist disillusioned by economic turmoil. Despite initial optimism, McKinley's wounds became gangrenous, leading to his untimely death. William McKinley's assassination prompted a national discourse on presidential security, resulting in Congress assigning the Secret Service with protecting the president in 1906. Theodore Roosevelt passed away in his sleep in 1919 when a blood clot traveled to his lung. Thomas R. Marshall humorously remarked that death had to catch Roosevelt unaware, for he would have put up a fight if awake. William Howard. Taft, the heaviest president in U.S. history at 340 pounds, died at 72 after slipping into a coma due to complications from high blood pressure, heart disease, and bladder inflammation. Now, on to a fascinating tale. Woodrow Wilson, after suffering a stroke in 1919, kept his health a secret, with only his physician and wife, Edith Wilson, aware of his condition. It's believed Edith took on significant decision-making, essentially acting as the first female president. Wilson survived his term, but succumbed to further stroke complications 3 years later. Warren G. Harding died in office at 57, likely from a heart attack, although his wife declined an autopsy. Calvin Coolidge passed away alone in his bedroom from coronary thrombosis, while Herbert Hoover, after surviving the Great Depression, died in 1964 from complications related to colon cancer surgery. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, holding the record for the most presidential terms, won 4 consecutive elections from 1932 until his death in office. Despite being diagnosed with various heart issues, high blood pressure, and bronchitis, likely stemming from heavy smoking, FDR ran for a 4th term, intending to resign after World War II's conclusion. The stress proved too much, leading to a fatal brain hemorrhage while posing for a portrait in April 1945. Harry Truman's health deteriorated at 88, leading to a 22-day hospitalization due to heart failure, arrhythmia, and kidney failure. Sepsis, a severe response to infection, left him comatose, and he passed away on the night of Christmas in 1972. Dwight D. Eisenhower's heavy smoking habit, with up to 4 packs a day, contributed to significant heart issues. Despite surviving multiple heart attacks and cardiac arrests, he ultimately succumbed to heart failure in 1969. Yet, he played a pivotal role in defeating Hitler. John F. Kennedy's medical history is perhaps the most intricate of any U.S. president. He was known to have had or was suspected of having numerous conditions and diseases, including scarlet fever, measles, whooping cough, chickenpox, severe spastic colitis or IBS, Cushing's syndrome, urinary tract infections, prostatitis, Addison's disease, malaria, adrenal insufficiency, and chronic back pain, among others. Despite his myriad health issues, it was his chronic back problems that played a role in his infamous assassination in Dallas in 1963. The back brace he wore, necessitated by failed surgeries, hindered his ability to duck after being hit with the first bullet. As for Lyndon B. Johnson, he was celebrated as a Democratic Party hero for his pioneering civil rights legislation in the 1960s. However, he also gained notoriety for his indulgence in food, alcohol, and cigarettes. Johnson famously stated in an interview with Walter Cronkite that smoking helped calm him down, asserting it was better for his heart to smoke and remain relaxed than to abstain and feel nervous. This lifestyle may have contributed to the heart attack that ultimately claimed his life at his Texas ranch in 1973. Richard Nixon was 81 years old when a blood clot in his left atrium dislodged, leading to a stroke. He swiftly fell into a coma and passed away 4 days later. Gerald Ford's death in 2006 was attributed to arteriosclerotic cerebrovascular disease and diffuse arteriosclerosis, conditions characterized by the thickening of arterial walls, resulting in poor circulation and organ damage. Ronald Reagan battled Alzheimer's disease during the last decade of his life, a progressive condition marked by the gradual death of brain cells and connections, leading to memory loss and cognitive decline. He succumbed to pneumonia in 2004. Our most recent former president, George H.W. Bush, was diagnosed with vascular Parkinsonism in 2012. This condition results from the deterioration of brain tissue due to blocked small blood vessels, impairing motor function. As his mobility and speech became increasingly limited, he relied on a mobility scooter. His health declined steadily throughout his 90s, and he passed away on November 30, 2018.